Welcome ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Fairy Tale Spoilers. As always, I am your host, Mr. Savagezweipanda here, and I'm always here to talk to you about some fairy tale goodness. Now, very controversial chapter again. Now, going to be into the spoilers of it. Now, I want to say as well with a grain of salt, since this time we haven't got any pictures to go off by these spoilers, but since for the past 2 months or so that these have been accurate around about the chapters, not like talking about it, then I am going to be trusting these like translations. For the meantime, if they are not, then I will remove this video if it comes out. So I want to say straight up from there, take these like whole spoilers and all that with a grain of salt, literally. But oh, we've got some stuff to talk about, and if you don't want to know, 3, 2, 1, you are already in the spoiler zone, so let's go and cut right into it. So we've got some very interesting matchups, like kind of finding out who's going on against who in this second part of the war. We've got Naruto and his group going ahead with Gildarts to deal with God Serena. We've got Gilles, who's facing off against Elfman and Lisana, which is a very fucking weird matchup. Like, you've got Mira Jane facing off against Jacob, which is like, that's a cool, that's an interesting matchup. I'm like interested if we're ever going to see anything about that. Then we've got Wall and Brandman facing off against Rogue and Minerva. Meanwhile, we got Invel watching over the battlefield, which with the next chapter being titled 497 Winter Mage. So I think now it can kind of confirm in the next chapter that we are finally going to get to that point and all that. We see Invel's power, we start seeing this, which I imagine with that 497 with the Winter Mage is definitely going to be focusing on Invel, is that this is going to be an important series and all that we're going to be finally seeing that Gray is going to be like splitting off with the other, saying this is the only, like, I can handle this guy and all that, like I can deal with this and all that. So yeah, this is the part and all that I was waiting. Like going up to the start bits and all that is, one thing is that the pairings and all that, like the pairings of these fights and all that are very, like Elfman and Lisana against Gilles, something like Gilles that took a fucking cannon to the face, and that it took Urza as well to fighting. Like, I'm not too sure about that fight and all. Like I said, like a lot of these like Spriggans have already had their fights already. I didn't mind the Gilles fight too much, but it's like, really, Elfman and Lisana? I mean, it's kind of cool if they do get their time to shine, but like considering that I generally don't think like Gilles, Jacob, I don't think Bradman, I don't even think Wall, I don't think any of these guys and all that are going to get another like kind of fight that they had where it was, you know, they normally like kind of extend this fight and all that they had around like what, 3 chapters or so, like fights and all that. I was thinking, I'm not really too sure. Now here's the stuff and all that that's controversial, and it just says in like big Japanese text and all that, Gildarts defeats God Serena with Empyrean, like that. Now, we don't know what Empyrean is, and there's other stuff and all that with this thing and all that, and I'm going to read off the other stuff like that's going in. In order for Naruto and his comrades to go ahead, Gildarts tells the guild to leave Serena to him. Lisana is using her bird soul, and Elfman in his ape soul encounters Gilles. Mira encounters Jacob, and Wall and Bradman encounters Rogue and Minera. Another Historia flirts with Yukino. Gildarts destroys God Serena's Historia with one blow, Empyrean. That fairy tale runs through Alvarez's forces to reach an open road, and overlooking this from the hill is Invel. The end of the statement of chapter is his ability wrapped in a veil. Invel, the whereabouts of the war situation, feeds his icy stare, and going into chapter 497 is called Winter Mage. Now, this is the thing where it's like, okay, so it's talking about like that God Serena's like Historia has been destroyed. We already, like, I'm gonna say from the start, that is really fucking disappointing if that's the case. If that is true, that is disappointing as hell. I do not want that to happen to Serena, and in the video I'll say that, it's like, what, this is what, like in the reviews, like it's bullshit. I really wish, like, for someone that was supposed to be like one of the strongest guys and he's getting, I mean, yes, we have to consider, this is Gildarts. Gildarts is a fucking monster. We knew that from the start, and then the fact that he went against, like, we're talking about someone that, like, got immediately just fucking killed by Acnologia, and he's going against someone that survived against Acnologia, and, like, you know, this is the thing about it, where it's like, we knew from the start that the only person that can go against Gildarts is August. I think that's still a pairing or that we need to fight off against him. Now, I'm kind of glad that, like, as well in this chapter, a lot of the people that I was talking about, like, Wall, Bradman, Jacob, like, you know, like, Gilles, I'm glad at least that, like, it was kind of the same thing where it's like, we have no idea who the fuck these guys are going to be fighting. Mira Jane, we clearly seen all that, like, she can just take Jacob. I think that's an easy fucking fight right there. like Elfman and Lisana against RG, I don't even know, like that, like I honestly, from what we've ever seen of Elfman and Lisana, they have been clearly not enough strength and all that to like even take, like we haven't even really seen them take down Tara, like, you know, when it was Taurus and all that, because even still and all that, it still took, like, you know, Mira, it took Urza, it took Gray, Natsu, Gajeel, Laxus, like it took the stronger, and Elfman and Lisana are always considered like sort of the weaker members of Fairy Tail. Like they've still got some strength on them, but they, like, we can clearly see like Elfman, like when he was at the Grand Magic Games, he could take on someone like Bacchus, like that was someone that he could take on, like at that point, and I still think like that to me is weird, so I don't really particularly like that pairing. Rogue and Minerva against Wall and Bradman. I don't know about that one either. Like that, it's like, I mean, we've clearly seen Minerva, she's got some very powerful magic, and on that Rogue has also got the second generation Dragon Slayer stuff, so it would be an interesting fight, like, about that, like, I'd be like, but then as well, these are fights where it's like, they're probably going to be off-screen, or they're going to be, like, if they are, they're going to be quick as fuck, because we've already had them. The question is, though, and this is the thing, can God Serena return after being defeated already with the Historia? Like, can, like, after all that, can, like, after everything that's happened, all that, can he be brought back by, like, the Spriggans and all that? Can he be, like, with, like, we've clearly seen, like, with the Historia Mento, like that it can bring people back from the dead, and I'm really wanting to know and all that, if that's the case. Can he come back and then he fight odds? Because what I wanted personally, I wanted, like, out of everything and all that, like, with all that, I wanted the Dragon Slayers to go against, like, Serena. I thought that would be an interesting fight and all that, to see, like, how far they've come and go against that, but not, like, it seems like we're not getting that at all, and, like, from that, and, like, from what, like, with Nineheart especially, it's like, you know, Nineheart's a fucking, like, out of all of them and all that, he's just going to be hiding in the background, and we've clearly, because we never got a chance to see and all that, we don't know if he can bring them back, and it's clearly shown all that so far and all that he hasn't been able to bring back anyone so far into the whole bracket, so I'm really curious and all that, what's going to be happening with that, with the Historia dead, so hopefully there'll be something about that later on and all that, we're going to get Invel, that's clearly hyping up now that Gray's going to have his own time. Gray's like one of the only few members so far that has not had a fight. Like Lucy's had her match and all that alongside with Natsu, with Jacob. She also had that tiny clash with like Brandish, and like clearly that's a thing that they need to settle again, like that Brandish and Lucy fight. Like Gargield's already had his fight already with Bradman. Laxus had Wool, they had the fight with Wool when he had the Demaria fight, like, and it's shown that Demaria, like, at the moment is clearly not on the battlefield, so I'm wondering what's going on with that. Lakade, that's a Natsu thing that has to be dealt with on there, but the God Serena stuff is clearly disappointing and all that, and it's like, and when it's said as well, another Historia flirts with Yukino, I'm wondering exactly what that meant, like, coming into there, saying like, you know, so there's someone else on that battlefield, and wondering who that is, and what the fuck is Empyrean, like that, like, when I was researching this, I was like, we have what we've seen so far of like what we've seen at Gildarts. He's not done that magic yet, so I'm wondering what the fuck is Empyrean at. Like that sound, like it sounds really cool and all that, but yeah, like another thing where it's just like, yeah, here are your Russian things and all that. Like we really want to like how it's sounding like that. It's like Gildarts and all that just pulls out some fucking OP move, destroys him. We know that, yeah, he's meant for August, and we knew the fact that it's like, yeah, he was gonna beat like God Serena or someone like that, but the fact that it's just like, if he got one shot of that, it's really annoying, and it's a shame the fact that it's like, you really are underwhelming this character that, you know, was, like, even though he got fucking owned by like someone like Acnologia is a fucking god level, like, class monster, but even still, it's like, we wanted to see more about this, especially that he's a Dragon Slayer, that he's, like, clearly got all this Dragon Slayer lacrima inside of him, and it would have been a perfect showcase of the Dragon Slayers getting together and showing, like a uniting of the first, the second, and the third generation going against him and clashing against him. So, honestly, we're gonna have to wait and see till we get some more details on that chapter and all that. Maybe they might talk about something when there are some screenshots out. I don't know if we'll get any time and all that, but on that, yeah. Everything else sounds interesting. It sounds setting up stuff. The Gildarts stuff about just completely destroying like God Serena is disappointing. So if it sounds like it's going to be a fine chapter with some disappointing elements, but it would sound like it'd be a bit of average, like 5 out of 10 kind of chapter, or like 4 out of 10. Like, we don't know at the moment. It's still so much less I know about the chapter. So I'm going to end off there. I feel like I've talked enough about these spoilers and all that, but yeah, the matchups are weird. I'm glad, like, so far we haven't got the matchups on Demaria. Clearly setting up the Invel matchup though with Gray, like, and also as well, like the whole Gildarts stuff with a new move. I'm very interested in what this new Empyrean thing is and all that is, like, with some crash magic. But other than that, let me know what you guys think in the comments section down below. But that's all from me, so I'll give you more details as soon as the chapter comes out. But thank you so much for watching as always, and I'll see you guys though next time.